Can you imagine waking up one morning and hearing that a foreign power has basically put your country up for sale? Well, that is the shocking reality facing the people of Greenland right now, all because of an incredible ultimatum from the President of the United States. So, how on earth did we get to this point? Let's get into it.
And it all started with this one sentence from a social media post by the president. This isn't just suggestion, it's not a negotiation. It's a demand, plain and simple, with a huge economic threat attached. He's saying, basically, that these heavy financial penalties are going to stay in place until the deal is done.
So the president is pulling out one of his go-to tools here, tariffs. The whole strategy is to put an immense amount of economic pressure on Denmark, which, remember, governs Greenland as a semi-autonomous territory, and basically force them to come to the table and agree to sell.
And they are not messing around with this timeline. The pressure is designed to ramp up and fast. The clock is already ticking, right? A 10% tariff is set to hit on February 1st. That gives officials just a few weeks to figure something out. And if no deal happens, that penalty skyrockets to 25% by June, and it just stays there indefinitely.
But here's the thing. It's not just about Denmark. The White House is casting a much wider net. They're targeting 8 of America's key European trading partners. By making the threat bigger, they're seriously raising the stakes. It kind of seems like the goal is to get all of Denmark's neighbors to put pressure on them to just give in.
So, what's the official reason for a move this aggressive? Well, it's all being framed as a matter of vital national security. The argument goes that the U.S. absolutely needs to control Greenland to push back against the growing influence of China and Russia in the Arctic, which, is becoming more and more strategic every year.
Okay, but what about the people who actually live in Greenland? How are they reacting to being a pawn in this huge geopolitical game? Well, as you can probably guess, the response has been incredibly powerful. For them, this isn't about strategy. This is about their home, their identity.
And the sheer scale of the opposition there is just staggering. We are not talking about a small protest. In the capital city, Nuuk, up to half of the entire population poured into the streets. Think about that for a second. That is an absolutely massive display of unity and defiance.
And when you hear directly from a young person on the ground, you really get a feel for the mood there. For so many, this has gone beyond just being angry. It's become a moment of real national unity, a feeling of solidarity against this outside pressure that they find completely unacceptable.
And here's that exact same feeling, just put even more directly. It's such a powerful statement of who they are. The message could not be clearer. We are a people, not a piece of property, and our home is not for sale.
And this quote, wow, it just underscores the very real human side of all this. Beyond the defiant protests, there's this genuine, palpable fear among people about what might happen next. This high-stakes political chess match is causing real anxiety for families living on the island.
All right, so let's pull the lens back and see how the rest of the world is reacting. As you can imagine, a threat of this size against key allies, well, it has not gone unnoticed.
The response from European leaders has been swift, it's been unified, and it's been really severe. You've got France flat out calling the threats unacceptable. The British Prime Minister says the strategy is completely wrong. And the EU is warning that this could set off a dangerous downward spiral in relations.
Now, this is a fascinating move. Several European nations have responded with more than just words. They're sending military personnel to Greenland. But get this, they're calling them joint exercises and framing it as a direct response to the president's own security concerns in the Arctic. It's a really clever way to show solidarity with Denmark while also subtly pushing back.
So, while Europe is making moves on the ground in Greenland, a very different story is playing out back in the United States. The big question is, does the American public actually support this kind of high-stakes play?
Well, it turns out this policy is really unpopular at home. A new CNN poll shows that a full 75% of Americans are opposed to the idea of taking control of Greenland. And what's really significant is that this opposition cuts right across party lines. It even includes many of the president's own supporters.
So you end up with this really stark contrast. On one side, you have the administration arguing this is a vital national security interest, and on the other side, you have 3/4 of the American population saying, nope, we don't support this.
Which, of course, brings us to the central question in all of this. When you have the people of Greenland defiantly opposed, your European allies united against you, and most of your own country against the idea, what is the endgame here? What is the actual path forward for a strategy like this?
Ultimately, this whole wild situation really boils down to a question that feels like it's from a completely different century. In our modern world of sovereign nations, can a people and their homeland actually be purchased? Well, the answer coming from Greenland seems to be a crystal clear, resounding no.